This podcast provides a platform that will share many different points of views that should empower you, uplift you, make you want to go out and do right. When you hear the term still a man, say, yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Still a man. Yes, I am. Let's go.
What's up, people? Welcome to another must-see episode of the Still a Man podcast. So before we get started tonight, I just want to acknowledge some of our sponsors. Yes, the Still a Man podcast has sponsors. There are people behind the people behind the man that pays the bills. So let me go ahead and acknowledge them. First, I want to acknowledge Still a Man. Second, S.A.M. Second, Adapt the Parish, Ladies First, Envy Forever, and Marble Kai and Baby. So, with Mother's Day rapidly approaching, guys, you need to reach out to the Marble Kai and Baby platform so you can purchase one of her boxes. They have everything in it. All you have to do is just reach out to Tanasia Lacey. She's a part of this podcast tonight. She can give you all the particulars, all the information. She will get you tuned in. Also, you guys really need to check out the emporiumplus.org so that you too can purchase things for your mothers, the ladies in your life. We have a lot of things for women inside the Emporium Plus store. Again, as I said, this is a one-stop shop. We got something for everybody. So guys, you do not want to show up empty-handed on Mother's Day. It will not be a good day for you. So trust me, make sure you check out emporiumplus.org. There you can find all the latest designs by Adapt the Parish, Ladies First, Envy Forever, S.A.M, Still a Man, and trust me, we got a lot of things coming out for you guys, a lot of new stuff, so stay tuned. And if you have not watched any of our previous shows, make sure you basically log into YouTube and type in Still a Man podcast, and you can watch all the previous episodes. And you can listen to us on Spotify and all the other Anchor audio platforms. And guys, make sure you click that like button and the subscribe so that we know that you're watching and so that everybody else knows that everybody in the world is watching the Still a Man podcast. And I have to talk about the Still a Man platform because I have to make sure I let you guys know about the new things on the platform. We got, of course, the Still a Man podcast every Tuesday night at 7:00 p.m. And we have, following that, bi-weekly, we have Wind Down Wednesday. That is hosted by Robert Brewington. Then we have a bi-weekly show called Think About It Thursday. And that is hosted by Gregory Lacey. And as I said, we got a lot of other things, exciting things coming up for said platform. So again, everyone stay tuned. So without further delay, let's get back to the topic at hand. So tonight, I want to talk about something that has been like weighing heavy on my spirit. And I feel like that I have to share this with the world. And I alluded to this in a previous conversation during one of the episodes. And I said that there are videos out there circulating about how people feel about the Black man in particular. So one of the team brought this to my attention about a month ago. And we've been debating, should we discuss this topic? So the Still a Man platform discusses topics that concerned or are concerning to every man. So I feel like that as a male member of the male species, the male population, then I have to bring this to the forum. So before we get started, let me just give everybody a disclaimer. The views of the attendees, the participants, are their views and their views alone. They in no way represent the views, the perspective of the host of the Still a Man podcast or the Still a Man platform. So this is going to be a sensitive topic, and some people shy away from speaking about sensitive topics, but not us. So we're going to get to it. I want to let you guys know there's a couple of videos that we're going to watch right now. But before we get started, tonight's episode, April 12th, is You Are Entitled to Your Own Opinion. Okay, tech person, roll the first video.
This is the reason you guys don't have families. This is the reason. You want a housewife without being a husband. You're leading men down a dangerous, dangerous path. You want a good wife? You want a good wife, a lover? You get a job. You do your job as a man. How dare you say that a woman should do her job and prioritize her wants to worship you when you don't do a thing? If you don't provide for that woman, she don't owe you a thing, dude. That's why good women don't with you. That's why you have a problem dating, because good women know you're not a good man. You're a man. All you do is want to come and a cum receptacle. You're not teaching young men how to, be fathers, how to be leaders. You're a continuation of the problem we have. You're the reason kids don't have fathers while they go to jail and while they have higher crime rate, because you're a piece of shit. You want women to do their job without you doing your job. This is the reason you guys don't have families. This is the reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if that's not enough, that is just one person's perspective trying to influence many, but that's not it. There's more. Tech person, roll the other video.
Black women are the most educated demographic across America. So, I put my hand up for that. If you want to get an education, you want to better yourself, you want to, perpetuate good life behaviors and push away negativity, that's great. It's just nonstop negativity, draining the life force out of Black women who are doing all of the legwork, all of it. You're doing everything on your own. There's no help for you on the other end of your community. I don't know why Black men expect you to act feminine when they've taken on the feminine role. So you had to follow nature and play both roles. And then they call Black women overly aggressive, matriarchal, when they're not playing their natural role. So I'm very confused why Black men who act like women would want you to submit. I don't know how much more feminine you could be than that. Listen, if you have children indiscriminately with people and you don't care where you're blowing your loads, you feel consequences. Black men want to continue to be ridiculously irresponsible in a sexual manner, then they could deal with the consequences, losing a driver's license, losing the ability to have money or a bank account, having their credit destroyed. That's a choice. You're making a choice. At the end of the day, you're choosing who to bed down with. I don't appreciate the level of pressure that they put on women in your community. Raising children is tough with two people. I have parents that help out too, and it's still tough. To do it all alone is ridiculous. Plus, you're still the most educated demographic in America. So I don't know how you're pulling that off.
So what do you think about the fact that black men try to speak for y'all, white men, in terms of what y'all desire?
Well, I mean, you really can't gatekeep my sexuality. I love and respect black women. Men are a nuisance. They don't know how to act like men anymore. I'm attracted to power, first and foremost. If a black woman is the most educated person in my wife's friend group, which it is, then I'm intellectually attracted to that person.
So they run around and say that, you know, white men are threatened by them. Are you guys threatened by black men?
No, not physically, not economically, not intellectually. I think that black women can compete with white men. I know there's a couple people in the Business Owners Association I belong to who are black women that are running in the same circles as me. And let me tell you, I mean, they're running their tight ship real good, and they're making money hand over fist and taking care of their families by themselves without black men. So both of them, they're both single mothers, and they're both paying their kids' college tuition cash by working in my industry. You're not the problem. Black women, at least you could sit down at my table and have a meal with me and discuss problems openly. Black men are just irate. Black women are the most educated demographic.
Okay.
No.
Easy,
Right off
easy,
the
brothers.
bat,
I know y'all
from,
waiting, y'all chopping at the bit to get at it. But before we go there, I'm gonna ask a tech person to play that video, the last video, one more time, because I want everybody to be certain about this alpha male, because that's what he entitled himself as. I want to be clear about what he's saying. So let's play that second video one more time.
Across America. So, I put my hand up for that. Black women are the most educated demographic across America. So, I put my hand up for that. If you want to get an education, you want to better yourself, you want to, perpetuate good life behaviors and push away negativity, that's great. It's just nonstop negativity, draining the life force out of black women who are doing all of the legwork, all of it. You're doing everything on your own. There's no help for you on the other end of your community. I don't know why black men expect you to act feminine when they've taken on the feminine role. So you had to follow nature and play both roles. And then they call black women overly aggressive, matriarchal, when they're not playing their natural role. So I'm very confused why black men who act like women would want you to submit. I don't know how much more feminine you could be than that. Listen, if you have children indiscriminately with people and you don't care where you're blowing your loads, you deal with consequences. Black men want to continue to be ridiculously irresponsible in a sexual manner, then they could deal with the consequences, losing driver's license, losing the ability to have money or a bank account, having their credit destroyed. That's a choice. You're making a choice. At the end of the day, you're choosing who to bed down with. I don't appreciate the level of pressure that they put on women in your community. Raising children is tough with two people. I have parents that help out too, and it's still tough. To do it all alone is ridiculous. Plus, you're still the most educated demographic in America. So I don't know how you're pulling that off.
So what do you think about the fact that black men try to speak for y'all, white men, in terms of what y'all desire?
Well, you really can't gatekeep my sexuality. I love and respect black women. Men are a nuisance. They don't know how to act like men anymore. I'm attracted to power, first and foremost. If a black woman is the most educated person in my wife's friend group, which it is, then I'm intellectually attracted to that person.
So they run around and say that, white men are threatened by them. Are you guys threatened by black men?
No, not physically, not economically, not intellectually. I think that black women can compete with white men. I know there's a couple people in the Business Owners Association I belong to who are black women that are running in the same circles as me. And let me tell you, they're running their tight ship real good, and they're making money hand over fist and taking care of their families by themselves without black men. So both of them, they're both single mothers, and they're both paying their kids' college tuition cash by working in my industry. You're not the problem. Black women, at least you could sit down at my table and have a meal with me and discuss problems openly. Black men are just irate. Black women are the most.
Okay. So guys, before we go ahead and dive headfirst into this, let me say this. Let's try to refrain from any obscene language if possible, in any obscene behavior. But even before we get into it, because I'm gonna let the ladies speak first, but gentlemen, can you join me in a round of applause for these two individuals that felt like that they had to champion the Black woman's plight? Can y'all join me in a round of applause?
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I don't see anybody
I
else
will
is
not.
joining in this clap.
I'm not applying that. That was a bunch of garbage. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the problem. That is the problem right now. You see, because they keep on insinuating that the Black man this, the Black man that. You know, but when there's the Black men that are there, they try to put them into the bunch with those who ain't doing, which put the women head of the household. You know, it started, you know.
Okay, hold on, Timmy. Timmy, let me stop you, because just to be fair, before I initiated the round of applause, I said I was going to let the ladies speak first. So let's get the women's opinions first, because after all, he is championing a cause that is pertaining to them, allegedly. So let's go ahead and get one of the sisters' perspective. Let's go ahead and let me see. We got Patsy, we got Josie, we got Tanasia. Let's be fair. Patsy, you want to give us your opinion? How you feel about what this man said? Is there any truth? I mean, what's your beliefs about this? How do you feel?
You know, some parts of it is true, but let's be fair. Men across the board, Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, can be just like what they were describing. So it's not just Black men, it's a lot of men. But you got a lot of good Black men out there that step up to the plate and buckle down and do what the heck they gotta do to support their family, whether it's financial, emotional, or whatever. They're in the home, or at least they're supporting the kids that they create with this woman or women, depending on how many mothers that they had children with. At least they try to step to the plate and be like a man in developing that relationship with the woman and their kids, you know, and be like, okay, say like they can get something financially to them. At least they can putting clothes on the kid's back and say like, I'll go buy some clothes for this kid. Okay, you need some food. Let me go food shopping. Let me go hit the food pantry and I'll bring the food that I get there to your house and I'll put food in your house. You know,
Okay.
and whatever they got to do, they're stepping to the plate.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You know? Yeah. That's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Let me see. Josie, are you ready to share?
What do you want me to share on? You want me to share on, do I think Black men step up to the plate?
I want to know how you feel about those two videos that you just watched and what you heard. I want to know how you feel about that.
So I'll be completely honest with you. The second one I watched, and I was glad you reminded. So I guess he was speaking from his belief, his point of view. I don't know too many Black men that I would just get up in the morning and say, you're a piece of trash, or you could do better, or things like that. You know, the motivation from a woman to a man, I believe, is what continues to build them. So I don't see all of what he was saying to be of truth. However, to each their own.
Mhm. All right. Who else we got? Let's get a member of the younger generation's opinion. Tanasia, how did you feel about said video? Let's get your perspective.
I plead the fifth because I don't want to get anyone upset. So I plead the fifth. I don't have an opinion on this topic.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. But if later on during the discussion, if the spirit moves you to speak on
because I
said
feel he's
topic,
speaking about I think he's speaking on us as a people and what we portray as the people. So whether that's our basketball players, our actors, our rappers, musicians, I feel that if for him to speak on something so passionately, and amongst his peers, so it's he's looking from the outside in, I can see where his opinions reflect what we portray as a society or in our community to society, or what society portrays our people as. His statistics are on point when he said the Black woman is the most educated, because as of right now, she is. We are getting higher educations. We are breaking barriers. We are becoming vice presidents of the United States. We are becoming world-renowned doctors. Hence, the Moderna vaccine was created by a Black woman. Our pay rates are higher as Black women, but these are the things that we see Black women doing progressively in our culture. However, we don't see a majority of the Black men doing so, and statistically proven, it does show. So I think that in general, my whole opinion is that we as the people need to do better so that other cultures don't reflect on us as that or as so. We all have, what is that called? We all have these, they say don't judge a book by its cover. People do it all the time. However, when you present yourself or your community as a specific way, then that should be what they should be portraying you as. So we need to look into our communities. We need to look at what we're portrayed on as TVs, our acting roles. We need to do better with the people who we call our role models in society, because they're not reflecting this Black power. If we have examples, the only example that I personally know, which I can't even say that because they were fighting in the elevator, but that hold themselves, are Beyonce and Jay-Z, that I haven't heard anything crazy in the media, children cheating. The only thing we truly heard about was the elevator situation. And that was because it was caught on camera. They didn't know they were on camera. But as soon as it happened, the elevators opened, they acted like nothing happened. Like literally nobody, like they didn't address it. They just acted like nothing happened. And I find that we need to hold our community to those standards. What happens in the house stays in the house. And also, hey, we need to fix ourselves up. We need to make sure that we're presentable at the airport, at job interviews, going to the grocery store. Like that's what we need to do. Hold ourselves to a higher standard so that we don't have these outside races looking, or ethnicities looking at us and portraying the same story that we hear on the news, the same story we hear on Facebook. It's the same thing. That's my opinion.
Okay, so do we have any more ladies in attendance? Okay, so let's go on to the brothers. All right, Bert, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, Bert. Let's. How do you feel about what this individual had to say? Have at him.
I kind of started this a little bit late. I kind of caught the very tail end of what he was talking about. Me being an alpha male myself, I don't know what I really have to say. I'm not sure because I wasn't in on that conversation to kind of know what it was about. So and I don't consider me an alpha male. I'm an alpha male. Oh!
Okay. Okay. All right. So Timmy, you started this off, and you was touching base on, you was making some points. I'm gonna come back to you, but because I want to be fair and I want to give everybody a chance to speak. Okay. Let's get Sean. You with us? You ready to share?
I'm here. So what I caught, because I saw the last video, and from what I can catch, from my perspective, he was speaking on his perception and perspective and what he's experienced when it comes down to us in his world, because he specifically was speaking on women being able to sit at his table, because that was the world, whatever it was that he said he was in. I guess he said the fitness world or whatever. So that's what
he said, the executive professional and the
executive professional. Okay. So depending on what line of work he was in, even though he said professional executive, there's different branches of it. What he was in, maybe the predominantly people of color are women, and so they seem to be able to climb the pole in his genre of work. So whatever stereotype that he's come across, that's what he's focused on.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Let's get the younger generation. Minister Lacey, you ready to share?
I think I shared this analogy before, but I don't know if people's gonna understand what I'm talking about again. If I give you 40 acres and a mule, and I tell you, hey, go out there in the world and live, and then I give this other person nothing, and I tell them, go out in the world and live, then I call myself the alpha male because I had the 40 acres and a mule, right? So what I'm basically trying to say is, this was set up a long time ago. And for that lady too, for that lady in the video to sit there and let him ridicule black men like that, and then turn around and say, how do you feel about black men talking about you? So he can turn around and say, I don't even care what they got to say about me. That is all crazy in a mindset of watching that. And I just think it was all racist, to be honest with you.
I think she's a token black, picky nigga.
Exactly.
That's what she was. That's all. I that's why I said it was trash. You could see the things that he's saying, and look at her, how she just, oh yeah.
Because the thing about it, like Tanisha said earlier, there's a lot of successful blackness going on right now. And it's not just the female doing it. You can look at it, because ever since we had Obama in office, everybody's been so happy. You get what I'm saying? Because they looked at him as a black man.
Okay.
And then you have us accomplishing so much right now, trying to break generational curses. But people to turn around and let people talk about people that are actually struggling, that's crazy.
All right, so I know everybody's passionate about this. So the only way for everybody to be heard is to let one person make their point and then finish, and then we can respond after they finish. Let's try not to talk over the board, because then we can't hear the points that's being made. So, all right, Gregory, we're going to come back to you as well. Brother Robert, you willing to share?
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say this, and it's going to be short. He's not speaking for all black men. I don't really consider myself that word, black. I know I'm a human, but I'm going to tell you, I am a man. And I myself is the owner of a nonprofit. I myself does apparel, and I'm a player on this platform, which we call Still a Man. I provide for my children while they was in my home and in their mom's home at the same time. So I know what I'm capable of doing and what I was capable of doing then. He's not talking about me. He's talking about some black men, but he's not talking about all.
Amen.
So I'll say this. Do we have any other males in attendance tonight? Because I want to make sure I get everybody's opinion before we start dissecting this. Anybody else? All right. So you guys, let's talk about this alpha male. So the definition of that is any male, that's right, any male that assumes or basically tends to assume the dominant role of any social or professional situation. So let's talk about, they often relate, this behavior to animals, right? So humans, the wolves. So let's think about this. When there are two potential alpha males, or there are two alpha males, they fight it out to the death. All right. And to the victor, again, I said this before, you reap all the rewards. So that means you get all the females, you get all the food you want, you get to reproduce with who you want. Everybody treats you like God-like status. That's what you ascend to. So again, this individual, when I'm hearing him speak and seeing the video labeled as alpha male champion the plight of Black women, see, I think I have a different perspective on this. I don't know if this is a Black or white thing. I think that it's just that you have this member. He claims that he is the alpha male, and he wants all the spoils. So I feel like it's preconditioning. So if he can convince the Black woman that her counterpart, being the Black man, is less than her and him, then he can have reign over her too. But I would caution him, because I don't think that all Black women are basically deceived. I don't think that they feel that way, nor do I think that women of other races share his opinion, his perspective, nor do some women feel like that they need a man to champion their cause. So you got some women out here right now say they don't need a man for nothing, move out the way. It's our time. It's a woman's movement. So I think that they would take objection, to this person basically speaking up for them, in a sense, feeling like that they need somebody to champion their cause. I think that the Black woman and all women, they do a good job at speaking up for themselves. They give a great representation of who they are, their alpha status. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I think that this individual I feel like that he is trying to basically, street lingo, gas this woman up. He's trying to deceive the females of the Black race. So they can turn on him. But remember, I will caution you, because he that you are trying to paint as their lesser comes from them. So if you think that about the man, is there a chance that you feel truly the same way about her?
About the woman.
Listen, let me point out one of those words you said, the dominance part. When he comes in and he says, you want to be dominant over this woman and you want her to be obedient to you. This is what he wants. because he feels like this is what he gets from the black woman, I guess. Because he said, I can look at her and she can be my equal right now. And those men are shit. That was crazy that he said that too. Man, listen.
Well, remember there was 2 different videos.
Yes.
And,
yeah, but
they're both related though. They're in the same nature.
Yeah, but the second one was more degrading, trying to, down the black man and uplift the women. Why can't both species be uplifted at the same time? Why you got to point out the man's wrongdoing, because it's a two-way street. Because there's women out here, the black woman who he said he put on the pedestal and champion them, they the ones, they out here doing the same thing that he's talking about.
He wants to dominate the woman, right?
Can I ask this question?
Sean, go ahead.
Yep.
Go
ahead,
jump
Sean.
Do we, and I'm talking to not to exclude the ladies, but for us brothers, do we have a problem with him saying what he said because he's white? Because I can recall back to a few of our podcasts that we've had that same rhetoric about our own people, because we actually live that. We come from the society to where the women were the dominants in some of our families and what have you. So do we actually have a problem with it coming from him because he's white? Because what did he actually say? And I'm asking, I'm being real honest and upfront. What did he actually say that we haven't said or that we don't believe?
I don't have a problem with the woman being dominant. You get what I'm saying? Because even as we go back, we know that women were warriors from our tribes. You get what I'm saying? So that doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the fact that he's talking about a woman, him being dominant over a woman because he feels he's in the position of power to do that, which makes sense because they are in the position of power to do that. But what's the difference between Stanford Housewives and Real Housewives of Atlanta? Would somebody like to tell me the difference?
I don't.
Some of them are ex-wives. Some of them are ex-wives. The Stanford Housewives are just them. They're the wife of one man, and he's dominating over her. She might be in the house, what they used to call barefoot and pregnant.
So
I must have missed the part because I'm like I said, I only saw the last video.
Okay.
So I missed the part of the dominance and because I heard when he said it, because he said that because I guess the topic was alpha male, and he was saying, how do we as black men consider ourselves alpha male when the women have predominantly been holding us down?
Well, I think that he was referring to himself as an alpha male. And you know what? Let's be fair. Don't take my word for it. Tech person, you want to cue that second video again? You want to bring us back to that video? Because we don't want to be making assumptions. Let's be clear about it. Play that second video again.
Most educated demographic across America. So, I put my black women are the most educated demographic across America. So, I put my hand up to that. If you want to get an education, you want to better yourself, you want to, perpetuate good life behaviors, perpetuate negativity, that's great. It's just nonstop negativity, draining the life force out of black women who are doing all of the legwork, all of it. You're doing everything on your own. There's no help for you on the other end of your community. I don't know why black men expect you to act feminine when they've taken on the feminine role. So you've had to just follow nature and play both roles. And then they call black women overly aggressive, matriarchal, when they're not playing their natural role. So I'm very confused why black men who act like women would want you to submit. I don't know how much more feminine you could be than that. Listen, if you have children indiscriminately, you don't care where you're blowing your loads, you feel consequences. black men want to continue to be ridiculously irresponsible in a sexual manner, then they could deal with the consequences, losing driver's license, losing the ability to have money or a bank account, having their credit destroyed. That's a choice. You're making a choice. At the end of the day, you're choosing who to bed down with. I don't appreciate the level of pressure that they put on women in your community. Raising children is tough with two people. I mean, I have parents that help out too, and it's still tough. To do it all alone is ridiculous. Plus, you're still the most educated demographic in America. So I don't know how you're pulling that off.
So what do you think about the fact that black men try to speak for y'all, white men, in terms of what y'all desire?
Well, I mean, you really can't gatekeep my sexuality. I love and respect black women. Men are a nuisance. They don't know how to act like men anymore. I'm attracted to power, first and foremost. If a black woman is the most educated person in my wife's friend group, which it is, then I'm intellectually attracted to that person.
So they run around and say that, you know, white men are threatened by them. Are you guys threatened by black men?
No, not physically, not economically, not intellectually. I think that black women can compete with white men. I know there's a couple people in the Business Owners Association I belong to who are black women that are running in the same circles as me. And let me tell you, I mean, they're running their tight ship real good, and they're making money hand over fist and taking care of their families by themselves without black men. So both of them, they're both single mothers, and they're both paying their kids' college tuition cash by working in my industry. You're not the problem. Black women, at least you could sit down at my table and have a meal with me and discuss problems openly. Black men are just irate. Black.
Okay. Now let me stop right there. Before anyone says anything, I want to point out a few things. So this is like, I've listened to this video several times, and I listened to it 3 times with you guys this evening. This individual, I don't have a problem per se what he's saying when he's making valid points, but what I do have a problem is when he feels like that he can basically profile, stereotype, pigeonhole all black men, men of color, because he's not saying, and I listened carefully, he did not say some black men, he did not say the majority of the black male race, he said black men. He made it clear. He kept saying black men. And when he said that, how can the black woman be feminine when the black man is busy being feminine? So again, I feel like some of his comments, some of the narrative is disrespectful towards men as a whole, particularly men of color. He's insinuating that we don't know how to be men, masculine, because we're feminine. We're too busy being feminine. And that does not describe any of the men that I associate with, that I've come in contact with. I don't know, brothers. Does that describe any of the men in attendance?
No, sir.
Exactly. So
but that loud marijuana produces extra estrogen in men and testosterone in women.
Okay.
So it honestly, unfortunately, it isn't black. It's anybody that's using these particular levels of marijuana that is increasing estrogen in men and testosterone in women.
Well,
okay.
I believe.
I don't think he said anything about. I don't think he said anything about that.
Very true. Right. I believe he's talking about the responsibility roles that we take on. That's what I'm grasping from what he's talking about. And so therefore, although he keeps saying black men, like, I apologize, but there's more. I know you gave us a clip, but there's more to that context that we're missing. Because he's got to be speaking on the world that he's in, because he keeps giving her praise, he keeps giving women praise about the industry that he is in, and so I think that's his bubble that he's speaking it on. oh, he keeps saying black man, black man, black man. He's looking at the world that he's actually in.
See, I concur. So this is so I
So how do y'all feel about the part where he said black men want the black woman to submit, but they're they're playing the position of a woman?
See, that's again where I feel like that the narrative.
You can't be talking about just his job saying something like that. That was entirely incredibly racist.
So I don't know if it's just the fact that he's being racist. I just think he's being prejudiced overall, but that stems from his mindset. He sees himself as an alpha male. So the alpha male doesn't require the opinion of any other male other than himself. He's not seeking validation from you.
Could you hear me?
About how you feel.
David, could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, this is what I want to say. Earlier when Patsy spoke, Patsy told everyone this is how she felt. She said, it's just not black men, it's Spanish, it's white men, it's all race. So if you hear that, you should take in consideration that he's talking about some black men, like Sean said, that he came in encounter with, that he might have had some bad experience with them. But it's not just our race. There's men of all sorts that he can be speaking on, and we know it to be true. White men do it, Chinese men do it, Spanish men do it, and so on.
Okay. So just to be fair, because I want to make sure I'm letting everybody get a chance to speak. So who do we have in attendance tonight? Because I feel like I'm hearing some other voices that are trying to chime in, but they're not given a chance to speak. So Gregory, can you tell us all who's in attendance?
It was me who was trying to chime in.
Okay, so Josie, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say that when I was listening to it again, it sort of kind of he stereotyped it when he threw a color on there. Had he just spoke in general, then yeah, I think that it would take away from the whole he's signaling out black men or men of color, because he does continue to, I guess, specify so clearly and so many times that, black men, and to me, it's one thing to big us up, but it's another thing to knock our men down. You know what I mean? So I think that it sent mixed messages to me as a black woman. So that's what I got out of it when I just heard it again. I'm just like stuck on, I feel you with your whole praising us, but I'm not too much feeling you on the knocking them down. So when we separate it, or when I hear people separating it, and I just don't think there is a separation. I think that what he was saying, he was straightforward with it. He was saying black men don't do these things, and that's why black women act as dominant as we do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. No. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry, because you are one of the individuals. See, your perspective is what I was alluding to earlier when I said I would caution him. Be careful, because I don't think that all the women that he claims to be champion will share his perspective, nor do I think that they will be fooled by his rhetoric. So again, when I tell you guys, I have an issue with the narrative and depiction of the so-called black man, because I feel like that he has a superiority complex. That is the greater issue at hand. So I feel like he's overcompensating. Like he feels like that, again, I am the dominant. And if I convince the women of this tribe, of this pack, that this is so, then the men of that circle, which would be of any threat or any challenge to my superiority, it will be none. If I can get the women to agree with me, because think about it. The women in a lot of cases are the nurturers. You know, they're the ones that nurture the young males, and they give them direction when there is an absence of the male. So again, I'm a bit concerned about when he says that he thinks that they should remove their license and things like that because of their behavior. I feel like that, again, these are people that are making decisions regarding people's lives in the communities in which they do not reside in. So I'm a bit, you know, concerned about that more so because you know, some people may be influenced wrongly by what he's saying. But Sean, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
I think I lost what I was going to say. Oh, I was asking Miss Josie, did she disagree with what he was saying? Although he was praising the woman, but was somewhat tearing down the man, do she disagree with that? Well, what he said, or just the fact that he was tearing us down?
So I would say, I mean, let's just say, just simple as is that he was of a different race, right? So when he tapped in on it being a race issue for me, that's where I guess, you know, I kind of started getting confused about it, because it's more or less like, if we're gonna build somebody up, we're gonna build somebody up. But I've never thought it was ever okay to get clout off of knocking someone else down. I never thought that was okay. So in the struggle, if you're going to see that these are I guess, the men of color that he's subject to or around, if that's their struggle, how are you helping them? How are you uplifting them by getting on? I don't know what that was, a podcast, a documentary. I don't know what it was, you know. How are you helping them? By getting on there and just speaking so belittling of them. And I didn't see any, I mean, I don't know if there's a happy ending to that, because I didn't watch the whole thing. But from what I seen and heard, I didn't see anything positive from him being a man addressing another man, you know. And that's why you probably would say there's men out there who are not stepping up and doing what they need to do, and he feels as if women are doing it for them, because there's men like him who are knocking these other ones down, not trying to help build them up. Do I think it was wrong what he said about the females? No, we spoke on this in one of our podcasts that, you know, women are stepping up to the plate, being the man, about the father and the mother in the situation. That's what we discussed, and it's true. And we also, it's a new day, you know. We get out there and we make a living for ourselves. We're not sitting at home barefoot and pregnant and waiting for. I mean, sometimes I fantasize about it. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I got to stand my own ground, because whatever anybody else can do for me, it has to be considered extra. I mean, unless I'm really in this need, I'm really in a struggle, and you know, it has to be considered extra. I don't want to take away from what we're talking about, but yeah, the gentleman, when I think about him, I just felt like he was taken away from the men of color, when I didn't see how that helped, made me feel good about him trying to build me up as a woman of color.
Well said. So I want to dissect another part of the video when he said something along the lines, when she asked him, how do you feel about the black man saying that you guys are intimidated by them? And he laughed. And then he went on and said that something we're not, I don't want to paraphrase. It was something about the economic status, physical, and I think intelligence level that we can't compete, or we haven't been able to compete, something along that lines. So this is a question for the gentleman. How do you feel like that? Because if this is the depiction and the narrative about us, I feel like we have some work to do. We have to change people's opinions of us. So how do you guys feel about that? Robert?
Sorry, I had to turn my phone back on. Me feeling about that. I'm just saying, reach one, teach one. If you know that something's wrong, and you got the upper hand on some education, or you in the work field where you can help a brother get a job, or you can give him a little bit of knowledge about how to hold a household down, help them out. Don't just sit by and watch them fail. You're just as bad as him having this speech. If you're gonna sit there and watch your brother fail and hear all this about how this man's talking badly about your brother or your brothers, then you're the same as him.
Okay, well said. Timmy? Timmy? Okay, he must be having problems with his mic. Sean, how do you feel about the question that I presented?
I don't have a problem with it, because if I was to come across him, I wouldn't be intimidated by him. I'm not intimidated by no man, let alone a white man. And the reason why is because I know who and what I am. And so with him saying what he said, because she asked him a specific question, and he answered it. And again, I believe he was answering based off of the world that he lives in.
Yes.
Although we keep hearing, him saying black man, black man, black man, I believe he's looking at the black men that he's encountered or that he's heard about. So I don't. So I do. And I mean, I think he does have that, that superior, but he has that superiority complex over any and everything. I think it just happened to come up. That's why I was saying to you, I apologize for not, because to me, there's more to this than the I know you wanted to speak on a specific part, but there's more to the context for me that I have to hear in order to really grasp all that, what he was saying, to make it racial or anything else like that. There's more to the context of it, because there was a question that led into, I believe, that led into him going on that tangent that he went on.
How you eating with me when I'm birthing? When I'm birthing this young black man that you're talking about. How you eating with me? How you bringing me to your table? You know what I mean? That's where I started getting confused. I'm like, here you are bigging us up, but then you're knocking these people down that basically come from us.
Right. But
yeah,
he I'm sorry, go ahead, Patsy.
That's why I said it was trash. That's why I said it was trash, because you speak on certain things, which was certain things was true, but then you went on and insulting the black man. Like we ain't, like every black man or I didn't never met. I know people like that, but the people that I be around with ain't nothing like that. I don't know those type of people.
Patsy?
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing with Josie, because it's like, how do you tear down a group of black men, right? But then you're praising the women when women are birthing these men. So in other words, you're really tearing down the woman too at the same time. And then you're like, I feel like in part of what he was saying was like, with how black men treat the black women, it's like they're dominant, but the way he kind of, like, in between what he was saying, like, oh, I could dominate you too. without really saying he's gonna dominate black women that he dated, you
Can
know?
I say what Josie's asked?
Go ahead.
Okay. To what Josie asked, because she asked that question. What I took from that, not your question, Josie, but from what the guy was saying, what he was saying, when I ended off with my last statement, when I said he's just an alpha person, period, no matter whom it is. And what he was saying to her is that I have more respect for you than I do your male counterpart. And also what he was saying, he didn't say, because to Josie's part where he said, how are you going to eat with me, this and that, and the other, he was saying that I would allow her to eat with me before I will a black man. So it's still him being dominant over any and everything in his mind.
So you caught
Right.
that. So
Right.
see, this
And
is
this
what
was also after, it was also after she presented the question to him of, well, what do you think about them talking about you? You know, and he said, I'm not worried about such and such. You know, it was like cockiness, you know. And then he went on to say, but I work out with a couple of people, you know, they can run a video, they holding it down, they got to it, you know. And for me, it's like, okay.
Exactly.
You're
And then
doing
it's
too
how
much.
smart are you to sit there aside across from this white man while he's saying that black men are trash, basically, and then you're a person that will give birth to a black man.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Let me say this to you guys before we go further. So again, this young lady, this woman, whoever she is, she had a job in this situation, this process. She is the interviewer. So she's asking questions. He's answering these questions based upon how he feels, his interactions with the black men that he have encountered. So let's just say this. Let's not vilify her, because she is bringing the questions to the table that other women are probably feeling, other women are probably thinking that did not have the forum or the wherewithal or the guts to say. So let's not vilify her. I don't think is that she's selling out her race of sorts. I don't think that's the situation. I think
The
she's
order of the question is kind of crazy, Uncle D, because he just went on a rant about how he feels about black men in the community and their sexual preference and some more stuff. And then he turned around and said, I don't care what they got to say about me. I get the alpha male concept, but that's crazy still. It's still racist.
So again, let's just talk about this. Let's go back to the alpha male. So again, I'm going to tell y'all there's a part of the definition what it speaks to as it in the form of the animal. And this is, I'm going to make it relate to what we're talking about. Let's go to the wolf, like Bird said. After the wolf conquers the other potential alpha male, do you know that in that species, they kill off the adversary's pups? They want nothing resembling, nothing stemming from the potential threat, the last. Anybody that opposes the threat will challenge their dominance. So they wipe out that whole like bloodline, so to speak. But then they immediately start reproducing with that female or wolf after they killed her mates and her puppies. So in this sense, I kind of feel like that this individual, he perceives the threat, the potential threat of that black man that he's talking about. So I just feel like he's trying to do everything around his power to gather that power. So if he said at one point in the clip that he's attracted to power. So is it that he's attracted to the black woman, or is he attracted to the power that she represents?
Nah,
think about that.
He really attracted to the black woman, and they've been trying. They've been trying. To try to kill off the Jews and all that with the Holocaust and all that. So it's always been trying to wipe out a certain, but they can't. They can't because there's too much mixed race in the world today.
Yep.
So they can't.
So again, you guys, I would say this to you, as members of that male species, how can we change the narrative? How can we change the depiction that is often represented, that's displayed in public? Because the way we are being represented is not always good. So again, had this individual said there are certain members of the male race, the black male race that fall into these categories, then I think I would have been a little more receptive. Now, I'm not saying that I'm closed-minded and I didn't entertain what he had to say, because I use it like as motivation to do better. So if this is how he's feeling about members of my gender, members of my species, then that says to me, well, I got to make sure that I don't follow suit, that I don't fall into those categories, that I give them something, another profile. So I want to, again, like I said, change the narrative. Once we can control the narrative, we can change the depiction, how we're being depicted in public and to our women and everything else. Because let's just be clear about this, guys. No one should have that much influence over your household. It's just not a good thing. And I think if you're doing your job, you're taking care of your responsibilities at home, I don't think that some of these women would even entertain what this man has to say. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But again, I would caution the female race, women of color, or let's just say the female race, period. I would caution you in regards to someone that comes forward and claims to champion your cause. Because if he sees your counterpart as a threat, and he says he's aware of your power, your dominance, at some point, when do you present a threat to what he represents? Josie, how do you feel about that?
Say it again.
I would caution all women in regards to any man that will come forth and says that he champions your cause, your plight. He speaks for all women, and he's doing this, and he's saying he perceives their mates, their male counterparts to be a lesser, and he is the superior. And he says that he's attracted to their power, to their potential dominance. And if he is an alpha male in every sense of the definition, at what point do you, as the woman that is displaying all this power, all this dominance, when do you represent a threat to him?
Listen. I can't speak for when I would become a threat to him. I would like to think that I'm a threat coming off rip for anyone. That's just what I would think, because you want to hold yourself to a standard that you don't want to be knocked down, so maybe that alone would make someone feel, threatened of my presence, or threatened of what I'm bringing, or threatened of how I'm approaching you. But I can't speak for when I would become a threat to someone else. I would hope that the threat would be in a positive way that would make you want to respect me, you know, not challenge me.
Okay, but let's be clear about it. Any act of dominance, if you represent any level of dominance, it's an act of defiance. You are a threat. You are a challenge. So in a sense, so this is what I'm saying to you: be careful about he or she who
I think
said that they're attracted to the power, because if it is their goal to be all consuming of said power, then once you represent a threat to that power, you then too become a threat to his existence, his level of dominance. That's what I'm stating.
Right, and it could turn into a whole uglier situation at that point in
Yes.
time.
Because now
I smell characters like that a mile away, and I really don't condone any of that. You put your hands on me and all of that stuff. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I watch movies, and I know that's not a good example, but yeah, sometimes I sit back and I'm like, girl, why are you still sitting there? And, you know, but in real life, you don't truly know how you're going to react, and you don't know how you're going to relate. But I get what you're saying. Point taken.
Again, Sean, how do you feel about that? I mean, what would you say to your daughters after them viewing this or bringing this type of video to your attention? I mean, what would be your take on it? What would you tell your daughters about someone saying that they're attracted to their level of dominance?
Well, both my daughters are in a field to where their numbers are low as far as among because I'm sorry. Let me answer your question. All right. So what I would say to them is, because my daughters, both of them are alpha females to the core. So they tend to always think that they tend to always move in a way that they always think that they have to be a step ahead of anybody, male or female, in the game, in the genre that they're in. So I mean, I guess it's not too much I would say to them because they already live that.
Okay, so would you categorize yourself as an alpha male?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So that's fair. All right. So Gregory, do you consider yourself an alpha male?
Yes, and with any female, I would tell them this: if they build their arc and they're strong in the place that they're at right now, and then they tell you it's a flood coming, it's a powerful flood coming. This guy's a flood. He's coming and he's gonna consume your world, but you got an arc. And he wants you to forget about your family because he's coming so fast. He's telling you that you're good. You got an arc. You don't need to worry about anybody else around you. But you don't got no paddles. You don't got no rowers for your arc.
That's a hell of a metaphor. So are you saying? Because I know you make it relate to say how you said it before about the boat.
The world around you is drowning, and you got your own boat, and you're on it, and you're just gonna let the world around you drown because you don't care, because you're powerful with this man who's the flood.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make it relate. Robert, do you consider yourself as an alpha male?
All day long.
All right. So, Patsy, let me say this to you. Do you consider yourself to be an alpha female?
I don't know about alpha female, but I'm a strong woman. You know, so I guess in a way that's like an alpha woman. You know, so yeah, because I can hold my own. You know, it's not to say that, you know, Yeah, I don't need a man, but you know, it would be nice to have a good, strong man, no matter who they are, what race they are. You know, I typically date black men anyways myself, so you know, it's just my preference. But you know, it's like you know,
So let me just stop right there. So is it safe to say that you're attracted to the level of dominance that might pose a threat to the individual in the video? Do you recognize the dominance that those men that you date have? What is the attraction of the black male?
I think with the guys that not to say like I haven't been disrespected by the guys that I have dated, but I find I could relate to them better.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And then it's like there are guys out there that I've dated, black men that I've dated that treat me respect. You know, with respect. The guy that I'm with now, he treats me with respect and everything. You know, we got our disagreements, but who doesn't have disagreement? I have disagreement with my siblings. But that doesn't mean that we don't work our mess out. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's about how you can communicate with each other, how you work your stuff out, and be good at the end of the day. You know, it's like it's not him dominating over me or me dominating over him. It's us meeting each other in the middle.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
All right.
Could I say this? I want to say this. For my daughter and to all the sisters and women, period. Be careful who you sit around and you wait for them to build you up. The same person that builds you up in confidence or your beauty or whatever will be the same person that can take that building and crush it. So they will tear your build up down. You have to know your self-worth and be confident at all times in who you are. You're your own individual.
That threat.
Well put.
To
Tim,
speak on that, if you have confidence, your dominance will show through your confidence, how you carry yourself, how you speak. So you don't have to get any approval. You don't look, because that's gonna be noticed. You see, so you don't never look for no approval. But it's always how you carry yourself projects your confidence.
So again, I want to be fair. I want to ask you the same question I ask everybody else. Do you consider yourself as an alpha male?
Of course.
Okay. Josie, do you consider yourself as an alpha female?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So I
know there's people that would agree with that.
So is Bird still with us, or we lost him?
Yeah, Bird's still there.
Bird?
I'm here.
Do you consider yourself as an alpha? I think you made that clear, but just for the record, do you consider yourself as an alpha male?
I am definitely an alpha male. I definitely, in my opinion, here's my opinion, do what you want with it. I don't believe there is a such thing as an alpha female. I do not believe in the alpha to be a female. The alpha male is the one that's in charge of the pack. There is no, I've never seen in no pack and no any kind of National Geographic where there was a mention of an alpha female.
Well, the female protects the alpha male's neck.
You can't have two alphas in the same house because it just doesn't mix. It's water and vinegar. You can't have two strong personalities or two strong dominant people because there has to be some dominance and some hierarchy. And I'm not a believer at all in an alpha female. So me being an alpha male, I am the pack leader. There is nobody that's going to lead the pack with me as an alpha. a male or female. I am the past.
So I would say this. I pray that the man that made that TikTok video, that he has the goodwill of coming across. I hope that he comes across this podcast episode, and that he would watch it, and he would hear the views and the perspectives of all the attendees. And so I would say this to him, from one alpha male to another. I would say you have not met an alpha male as of yet. There are those that exist. And to be honest with you, we want everything that you currently claim you have, but we might not be as aggressive about doing so. We may not have the means to do so, but we want that level of success as well. We're just not always willing to cut others' throats and step over them to get to the point.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I would also say this to that individuals and others that think like that. So you need to be careful about when you set out to dig a ditch, a grave for someone, because they say that when you set out to dig a ditch, you should dig two, because you might be digging one for yourself too.
Amen.
So
yes.
I would say that. So if he does have any malicious intent, if he does have a hidden agenda, everything done in the dark
will come
to light. It's all brought to light at some point. So again, I thank you guys for your attendance. This is the Still a Man podcast. And again, I will say this in closing to the gentleman: you, sir, are entitled to your opinion, but there are those that have opinions too. God bless you guys. Good night.